The woman that needs no introduction, if you have been paying attention to college basketball, Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa. Caitlin, welcome back to 24 Hours Nothing But Net. You were kind enough to give us some time last year. We're grateful for your time this year.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Well, what a year. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, when people come up to you all the time for your autograph and your photo, and you always grant them that, what's it been like? Your celebrity is like off the charts.
It's been really special. And like you said, obviously, it kind of took off even more so in March. I feel like obviously around Iowa City, I was kind of already, a big deal. People knew who I was. But even, when I go other places now, like people still know who I am. So it's pretty cool. I think just seeing the growth of women's basketball through the whole tournament has been really special. And I think, sky's the limit for women's basketball too. I think people are finally, starting to understand how good the product is, how good the players are. And I think that's like the most exciting thing to me is, it's only going to go forward. And, I'm lucky enough to have another year. And I think, it's going to be special. I think our arena will be sold out for every single game. So you can't ask for much more than that.
No, you can't. And as a matter of fact, you guys had to stop selling season tickets because you sold out the full allotment. It's very exciting. All right, so there's a lot of places we could go, and it's just so fascinating to watch what you've been able to do. I think that in my own little world, I have three major well, really four, and you answer all of them. Hashtag ticket selling player. Hashtag shoot till your arm falls off. Hashtag the product is the narrative. Hashtag 3 W's of a good point guard. Who to get the ball to, when, and where. I mean, you got it all, Kate. You got all of it. It's so cool to watch.
No, yeah, I think those are the biggest things. And I like the last one. I think that's the most important as a point guard is knowing when to get your teammates the ball, where to put them in a position to be successful. And I know we've talked about that a lot, but even Coach Bluter, that's important. You want to be able to set your teammates up for success. And, as a point guard, you kind of got to be the extension of the coach on the floor. So I think that's something I've kind of learned over my career, not always needing to make the home run pass or the hero shot. Just take the easy one sometimes, but also, set your teammates up for success. You draw so much attention yourself. And obviously this last year, Monica drew a lot of attention on the block. There was just opportunities to create for maybe Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin, McKenna Warnock, players like that, where you can set them up and be successful. So I think, being able to understand that is an area I've grown into, but it's something that's really important as a point guard.
You handle the PR around your situation in your team as well as anybody. Maturity beyond your years, honestly, because you always think team first. Where does that come from?
I think honestly, more than anything, kind of my parents and just kind of how I've always thought about the game. I think, I always say I'm lucky enough to play a team sport. And once I, realized you don't have to do everything yourself, that's when I started, really playing my best basketball. When you realize you got four other girls on the court at the same time as you, and you can always rely on them, it takes quite a bit of pressure off yourself. And I think I also realized, I wouldn't be the player I am if it wasn't for, the four other people on the court at the same time, but also, the other 10 that are out sitting on the bench, and obviously the coaching staff too. But, my teammates are also my best friends, so it's easy to give them a lot of credit, and, they certainly deserve it. And I think that's what makes us so good is we have such great chemistry, not only on the court, but also off the court. We're each other's best friends. We love spending time with each other. Most people are probably like, how do you guys not get sick of each other?
Yeah.
But, we truly love spending time with one another. And I think that really shows. I think it shows the trust we have with one another, the ability, to hold each other accountable and know it's coming from a really good place. And, that's really important if you want to reach your goals. And I think that's something, over my 3 years that we had to improve in, to be able to have the year like we did last year is, trust and accountability. That's very important for your team to go far. And that's an area that we took really seriously.
And you guys work at it and you can see it, because it could be very easy for things to get divisive, because here you are, you get all the credit, you get all the celebrity, everybody wants your attention, and some of the others, you've always included everyone. And it does take work to do that. It's really a study in team chemistry for sure, because on the women's side, we usually don't have that. You usually find some drama somewhere, but you guys don't seem to have any of that. So that's a good thing. All right. So winning and sweeping all the National Player of the Year awards, where is all your hardware? Like, you have nothing in your background. Where do you keep all your trophies, plaques, all your medals, all the things, your academic All-American award, all of that?
Yeah, honestly, most of it's at home with my parents. I think they've just put it in a closet downstairs for the time being. I know my mom had to get like a storage unit because I was accumulating like so much like clothes and trophies and just a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff. Like obviously when you go to the NCAA tournament, you're getting a lot of stuff there too, just like memorabilia and things like that. So she was tired of me just stacking it all in the basement of my house where I grew up. So she had to get me a storage unit where I've been keeping all of it. So I know hopefully like one day when I have my own house I can find somewhere cool to put it or something like that. But I know our office here at the University of Iowa, like our women's basketball office, is they get replicas, and I know they're building a new trophy case to put all the stuff not only of myself but Megan Gustafson, Coach Bluter's Coach of the Year awards, and obviously we've had a lot of really really good players, a lot of academic All-American awards through our program. So I know they're working on a new trophy case to be able to display all those awards from Coach Bluter's time here. But even before that, obviously, we have a great tradition. Coach Stringer had a lot of really good players. So being able to display all that stuff will be cool in our offices. But yeah, I don't have any here with me. I made my parents take it off my hands and kind of made it their problem for the time being.
It's a nice problem to have, and I'm glad Iowa is going to showcase all the awards. So I want to ask you about this because my coach, Kay Yao, used to talk about this all the time. Awards versus rewards. Where do you keep the rewards of the season?
I feel like those are more so like my memories more than anything. And I was looking through some pictures, I think just like 2 days ago here, and I was just like, oh, I just would do anything to go back and live in that moment, like just for an hour, just because one, it went so fast, but I knew that at the time being, so I was just trying to soak it all in. But also, I mean, you never know if you're ever going to get back to that point. It's one, so hard to get there, and two, really, really hard to get back. So I was looking through some pictures and I was just like, man, those were some of the best moments I probably will have in my entire life. Obviously, I'll have quite a few more really good moments, but being able to share that memory with, certainly our five starters that were with each other for 3 years, but also, Coach Bluter, she's been at this a while, so she really deserved it and she worked really hard to get to that point. So, I'd do anything to go back for a couple moments, but we made some really, really good memories. I was just thinking the other day, like, I just want to go back and rewatch even some of the games because it kind of takes you back to that moment. So I think those are just kind of the memories more than anything that you'll keep for forever. And obviously that means more than, an award sitting in my parents' basement.
Okay, so I was just there at the University of Iowa for the 50th anniversary of Title IX, a huge celebration on the court in Carver Hawkeye. It was really amazing. The arena looked unlike anything I'd ever seen it. And somebody asked me this. I was on a radio show and they were asking me about you and about Iowa. And I said, the only time in my college career at NC State that we ever got on a plane and flew to a game was to go to the University of Iowa and play in a tournament. That would have been obviously before you were born, but it would have been a long time ago. And I just think about, at the 50th anniversary, I didn't hear a lot of stories about, pushing the rock uphill and driving the van and washing the clothes. I heard more about alums celebrating the success of all the student athletes at Iowa and how they just feel like there's a huge advancement and a huge wave coming. What was your sense? Like, what did you feel about that whole weekend with all those alums from all different sports being on campus, knowing that Iowa has always had a very historical presence in the women's game and women's sports in general?
Yeah, I felt that same thing, and it was obviously a super cool moment. And I'm really grateful that the University of Iowa had that event, and we've been celebrating 50 years of women's athletics here for the past year. It started with a walk last May, where we started kind of the kickoff of it, and it's been celebrated all year long. So, I was able to meet quite a few alumni that are just kind of in awe, not only by our team, but of the women's athletes here right now at the university, and just how far it's come since their time here. And I think more than anything, it's not, well, we didn't have this, it's just celebrating what it is
Mhm.
now. And I think that's the coolest part is, they kind of paved the way for us to be able to play on this stage and have the opportunities that we do. So, I was able to meet quite a few people, not only women's basketball players, honestly, more so field hockey, golf,
Mhm.
soccer, swim and dive, just, a bunch of different athletes that, competed for the University of Iowa and came back to celebrate how great women's athletics is, here at the University of Iowa. So, and obviously, it wouldn't have been possible without Dr. Grant and what she's been able to do and celebrating her over the past year. So, I know she would be very proud of where, women's athletics is at the university right now. And I think the most exciting thing for me is I still feel like it has so much room to grow. I think we averaged 11,000 fans this last year, but our attendance will probably be at 15,000, average next year, hopefully, if it's sold out every single game. But, even our gymnastics team had record number attendance. Our field hockey team is one of the best in America. Our softball team is playing really well right now. So, I think it's just exciting. And I think, one good team rubs off on the next because, our teams are very close here at the University of Iowa. So I think when you see the success of another, that just motivates the other team. So I think that's a cool part of it too.
I see your Tippy Business School marketing hat on your head right now. And I know as an academic All-American, right, you're learning a lot of stuff in books, but really the School of Hard Knocks is what you're living right now, Kate, because you got so much coming at you at one time. And I know you have lots of help and a lot of people that are helping you with your whole branding and all the things that you're doing in the NIL space and all those other things. So when you're wearing your own marketing hat, how are you managing all of the business that comes with being Caitlin Clark right now?
I think the first thing is being selective and being, aware of your time. Obviously, as a student athlete, you're basically working a full-time job by the time you're doing school and doing basketball. And then you add in the NIL stuff. So I think surrounding yourself with people that are looking out for your best interests. And I think that's exactly what Coach Bluter does, exactly what my family does, who helps me with a lot of it. So I think that's the biggest thing. But ever since I was a young kid, my parents always made sure school is the first priority before sports were. So that's kind of how I'm driven, even though they're not here with me in college. I would never let myself have bad grades or not try in school. And I think that kind of almost just speaks to my competitive spirit in a way. Whatever I do, I always want to do it at my best. But, I think that's how our entire team is. Coach Bluter, she doesn't require us to go to study table. She doesn't, or see if we're in class because she trusts us and know that we're going to have that done. And I think that just speaks to the culture that we have here. But yeah, obviously, my degree in marketing, I joke sometimes that, they should give me credit hours for, the NIL stuff because I basically have an internship, but it doesn't really count towards my degree.
I mean, you could teach a class over there by now, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot of people that could be tugging on you. So, all right, let's talk a little bit of hoops right here because, I had some time in February and I was in the state and I came over and we got to hang out. It was highlight of the year for me because we spent 2 hours together in the gym with just the two of us, you and a ball, and talking hoops and breaking the game down. And it's fascinating. Those that watched those videos that we did, those were all one takes, which was just amazing. Like I can't do everything with a one take, but you gave your scouting report. You told people what you like to do. You even told them where you were going to score from, and nobody stopped you. Like no one stopped you, Kate. How does that happen?
I think the biggest thing is just a confidence in myself. I understand everybody probably knows exactly what I'm going to do going into the game, but I think that's kind of, people are going to know our plays too. And Coach Bluter always says, if you set and use screens and you do things how you're taught to, it's still going to work. It's still, hard to guard things that, even know are going to happen if you're doing it the proper way. So I think the biggest thing for me is just, learning change of speed, getting stronger, things like that. It still makes it really hard to guard, even if you know what I'm going to do. And I also think being able to do a lot of different things, whether it's driving to the basket, whether it's the mid-range jump shot, whether it's a three-point shot, I think, that keeps the defense on their toes too, rather than, just being one-dimensional and shooting threes. They can kind of plan for that a little better rather than, maybe one possession I'm going downhill and one possession I'm pulling up for a three in transition. So, and obviously, the best part of my game is obviously in transition, and that's the hardest part to guard. So, that's always what Coach Bluter preaches is, our best offense is our transition offense. So, it's really hard for teams to guard that, and that's what we always want to get to.
I think you are absolutely fascinating. And for somebody like me that has been around the history of the game since the beginning and seen such great players since Cheryl Miller all the way through up into what you've been able to accomplish. It's so fun to watch and it's exciting and it's inspiring because this is exactly what we'd hope for, that there'd be this kind of attention on the game and that there would be a lot of people pulling for you and trying to emulate you. A lot of little girls and little boys in their own driveways are trying to do what you do. One last thing, Kate, is I mean, I'm just so impressed by so many things that you've done and how you go about conducting your business. If you were going to spin your magic wand on what you want next for the game, like what you see coming, there's a lot of change from a marketing standpoint. I know I've advocated my entire career for certain things inside the game. If you had a chance to be president for the day, or if you had a chance to
Oh,
change the game or make some, evolutionary change in how we go about doing things, what would be one or two things? Because I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what are a couple of things with your marketing hat on and the growth of the game would you like to see?
hmm. Oh, putting me
You
on the
already got the
spot.
Caitlin Clark rule in place, right? There's a new rule
Yeah.
coming out in college basketball, and I'm calling it the Caitlin Clark rule on the air because it is specifically about the
Good
tossing
ball
the
player.
ball behind your back, delay game,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. We won't go into it, but you got your own rule now, Caitlin Clark rule.
That's cool. I don't know, man. Honestly, well, didn't you propose something like the whole NCAA tournament to be in Las Vegas, right?
Yes, I did. Would you like to help me co-chair that?
I think that would be pretty cool. Obviously, I think I thought the fans at both sites were really, really good, but obviously having two locations on East and West Coast makes it hard for women's basketball fans in the Midwest, which I think there are a lot of. So I think, obviously whether it's Denver, whether it's Las Vegas, maybe a more of a central location.
Mhm.
Um,
A
Other than
destination
that,
city, right? A
yeah,
destination city where you can plan at Christmas time that, that,
yeah.
that everyone can go.
I'm trying to think about what else.
I'm glad you like that idea, though. That's
I
pretty
do
good.
like that idea. I mean, there's a lot of fun things you could do. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I haven't really put much
Well,
thought
I'm
into this because nobody has really ever asked me my opinion on these things, but I'm sure I could get you a long list. I don't know. I thought the tournament this year was really, really fun. I thought Dallas was a great location for it. A lot of fans showed out. That was really cool. And obviously, I think people are really starting to understand, sky's the limit for women's basketball when you give them the platform. And I know, we were able to meet with the NCAA after the whole thing was over and give them feedback, which was really cool. And they were very open to learning, how can we improve this? How can we make it better? Not only for the student athlete, but also for the fans, for the families of the players, what can they do to help improve the experience, which I think is very important too. And, that's only going to help move it forward, as we go. But yeah, I think, there's only room for growth, but also it's made a lot of growth since the bubble, which I also experienced. So it's been kind of interesting, my career here, because I started with the bubble, then the year after that, we get kicked out in the round of 32. And then we make the Final Four. So all three very different experiences. But I hope, I can repeat and get back to the Final Four next year.
I'll be happy to take you on my committee meeting to the NCAA when that happens, and you can help
Okay.
me advocate for, one neutral site for the Sweet 16, separation from the corporate partner program, so we have some autonomy to sell on our own, to create our own inventory, all those things that you're talking about in your marketing class. I've lived it. So you and I have a lot in common, Kate, and I'm so blessed that you took the time. I know your time is very valuable. I know this is a great time for you to recollect and get some rest, but the whole college basketball and basketball in general is grateful for everything that you do and how hard you work and how you keep your focus where it needs to be so the game can continue to evolve. And we sure do enjoy watching you. And I'm going to be inspired by you in the driveway. I'm going to use my 3, 4, 5 a.m. hours to be thinking about what would
Oh,
Caitlin Clark be doing right now besides sleeping. She might be in the gym.
maybe not.
I know you're a late night. You like to go in the gym late.
3 a.m. Come on. I don't know about 3 a.m. I'm more of
Well,
a
one day we're going to get you
little.
here. One day we're going to get you here, and you're going to be one of our celebrity shooters here in the driveway in Mount Pleasant. We'll
All
make
right.
that
I'm in.
happen.
I'm
And
in.
I'm so grateful for your time, Kate. Thank you for helping the Special Olympics, a cause
Yep,
I know that means something to you.
absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I always love talking to you.